This forest is at risk, threatened with destruction by a proposed highway in Montgomery County, Maryland. I'm Tim Goodfellow. I'm a member of the Tame Coalition. Tame represents transit alternatives to Mid-County Highway Extended, also referred to as the M83 highway. That's the name attached to the proposed highway as shown on transportation plans that are over 50 years old. The M83 highway is the worst example of outmoded transportation planning. It is a relic that is disconnected from modern day environmental knowledge, climate change awareness, mobility, and modes of travel. I'm standing in the alignment or right-of-way of the proposed M83 highway adjacent to the Woodland Hills community in Gaithersburg, Maryland. As you'll see in the film, this forest and over 70 acres of woodlands, forested floodplains, sensitive wetlands, and wildlife habitats will be totally destroyed and replaced with a highway if M83 is constructed. Extending for roughly 5.5 miles from Montgomery Village to Clarksburg, the proposed M83 highway project has a price tag over $1 billion. Besides this extraordinary dollar cost, we cannot afford the profoundly negative impacts to our environment, our air and water quality, and to our communities that will occur if the proposed M83 highway is constructed. Over 500 homes abut the right-of-way, and these residents' quality of life is threatened by the proposed M83 highway. The alignment of this highway bisects large, contiguous, and valuable forest lands in Montgomery County. If M83 is built, these forests will be fragmented and degraded. Public parkland will be invaded and reduced in size and function. The M83 highway will remove climate resilience forest in Montgomery County. If you simply examine the numerous county and state projects currently planned, budgeted, or under construction that provide significant traffic improvements in the Mid-County corridor, you will conclude that the M83 highway is not needed. Check out these reports on the Tame website for a detailed analysis and critique of this severely flawed and damaging highway, and you'll agree that its construction is not warranted and that Montgomery County should remove M83 from the Master Plan of Highways and Transitways. Join us on a journey as we showcase the natural resources, the wildlife habitat, and landscape features that will be destroyed and lost forever if the M83 highway is constructed. You're looking at the right-of-way or the planned alignment of the proposed M83 highway in Montgomery Village, Maryland. The right-of-way in this area is 120 feet wide and tightly sandwiched between the Breckenridge condominiums, the Christopher Court condominiums, and the Walker's Choice apartments. This forested area provides a linear green space along the edge of these high-density residential communities and will be paved over if the M83 highway is constructed. The proposed M83 highway would also replace a long row of parking spaces within these communities. This is Walker's Run, a first-order tributary to Whetstone Run, which flows into Seneca Creek, eventually dumping into the Potomac River and the Chesapeake Bay. This is the first of many stream crossings and wetland destructions that the proposed M83 highway would make. According to Montgomery County's M83 highway design, 150 linear feet of Walker's Run in this location will be placed inside of an 8-foot tall culvert, which essentially will disappear the stream in a pipe by burying it and disconnecting it from its natural, free-flowing upstream and downstream conditions. Piping a stream like this for such a large distance will destroy virtually all aquatic life in this stream. This grand sycamore tree towers above the Walker's Run floodplain forest. Its size and stature speak to its health, longevity, and resilience. The diameter of this tree is 49 inches, diameter at breast height. Sadly, this tree stands directly in the path of the M83 highway. As we'll see, Papa Sycamore is symbolic of the thousands of trees that will be cut down if the proposed M83 highway is built. You are looking at the large and dense trees that populate the Whetstone Run stream valley from Watkins Mill Road to the Montgomery Village South Valley Ponds, which is the actual alignment of the proposed M83 highway in this area. These linear riparian forested areas provide corridors for wildlife movement, feeding, and nesting. These beneficial forests will be destroyed and replaced with asphalt if the proposed M83 highway is constructed. Replacing natural protective forest lands in a floodplain with a highway will be detrimental to our air quality, water quality, and wildlife habitat. We're on a nice spring day here, Vicki. You and I live on different points of this stream valley, and this stream valley, as you know, sadly know, is the alignment of the proposed M83 highway. This stream valley is part of our community and our neighborhoods.
Exactly.
And it's sad to know that the county may place a road here.
It is actually very disappointing and even unsettling because, as you said, I mean, this is our home. We're talking about Mother Nature. You can't replicate this. Streams and trees and, the animal life, the animal kingdom that children grow up around and get to witness and see and play in.
Yeah.
And now they lose that. You're right. I mean, it is an asset because there are people that moved here, because of the beauty and the nature. And, that could actually decrease the value maybe because people, will move.
With the noise, the noise pollution, the air pollution,
right,
and more degradation to Whetstone Run here.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Montgomery County needs to cancel M83 from the master plan of highways and transitways.
I agree. I hope that they will hear the people.
Plus, if this road were built, it would impact negatively and severely all these people like you and I that live along this proposed right-of-way. I mean, it would really be detrimental to our community to have this forested area replaced with a highway.
Oh, it certainly would.
My name is Abel Olivo. I'm the Executive Director for Defensores de la Cuenca, which means Watershed Defenders. We work to engage Latinos and Spanish speakers in nature and the environment, specifically watershed-related issues. We work to increase knowledge around the issues by creating opportunities to enjoy nature in community. Coming together as Latinos to enjoy green space, to have fun with our families and our friends, creating the opportunities in a family-friendly way. So that's family time. Allowing the existence or the opportunity for people to connect with nature and the environment on a faith level. Many of our participants are Christian, Catholic, who believe that in the Pope's encyclical that the lesson is a call for the faithful to be stewards of God's creation. So part of my mission is working to create a network of Latino and Latina leaders to be out here, to be leading the charge, to ask those questions.
We are standing here in the vast floodplain forest of Whetstone Creek with skunk cabbage and mature oak trees all around. And behind me is Tanyard Hill Road and Windbrook. And over here is Watkins Mill Elementary School. And this is actually a narrow floodplain of Whetstone Creek that is threatened by the M83 highway, which is proposed to come right through here, wiping everything out in its path. It's a very narrow forest here. It's what we call the pinch point, and it would be utterly destroyed if the M83 highway were to be built. It's terrible because we don't have many forests left in Montgomery County. We don't have many free-running streams that are as clean as Whetstone Run in Montgomery County. So we have to hold on to and protect every square foot of forest and stream and floodplain that we have. And the idea that a highway would be shoved through this narrow, precious floodplain is ridiculous. It's absurd, and it shouldn't be given any credence in the halls of power.
What have we got here? We've got a school. We've got a wetland forest here. We've got a stream. This is the educational place par excellence for the school. It's the greatest resource for our kids. It's the most we can do for our kids. And it's right here. They don't have to get on a bus. They don't have to go somewhere. It's right here. Let's keep it here. We need this.
I'm Maurice Miles. I was born in Gaithersburg, Maryland on March 1932. I lived with my grandmother and grandfather. It was there in Emery Grove I graduated from elementary school, a two-room schoolhouse with a kitchen, a big black coal wood stove, and two outdoor outhouses, toilets. There in Emery Grove I grew up fast, having come of age of high school attendance, which I was bused to Lincoln High School in Rockville, Maryland. Lincoln Park was an all-black Negro community where there were more highly educated people than any community I have been involved in. One of the greatest moments that I will never forget, and that is the first time the black high school and the white high school got together. In my senior year, we played Gaithersburg High School, and we won the game by a score of 5-4, with me sliding in the winning run. Oh, what a night. The politics. I have said many times and will continue to say all politics is local, meaning that we must understand that what goes on in our community is something that you must live with every day. Your quality of life and pursuit of happiness depends on where we stand on the political ladder. Some say they don't want to be involved in politics. Are you telling me then that you are not concerned about your air quality, your water quality, your infrastructure, your roads, your bridges, how you get from one place to the other, your health care needs, your educational needs, your criminal justice systems? Politics, whether you like it or not, plays a major role in our daily lives. To me, that earth-crushing M83 would be devastating, life quality changing, a disaster. There's a third way. Let us look at it in real time, in real ways. Thank you.
This is Blum Park. It's a 24-acre conservation greenway park within the city of Gaithersburg. It's a natural community asset within the city. This park contains the alignment of the M83 highway. If this proposed highway is constructed, this meandering stream and its floodplain and associated wetlands will be damaged and destroyed.
Hi, I'm Margaret Shope as the organizer of the Tame Coalition. In 1964 was the first master plan, and after that time came some great environmental legislation, the largest one coming in 1972, which was the Clean Water Act. Highways do not belong in stream valleys and in forests anymore, especially in urban areas. We must keep our forests.
We are now approaching a very inviting yet at-risk forest. The forest is at risk for damage and destruction by the proposed M83 highway. We are also adjacent to the Stedwick community, specifically Cape Hart Drive. Stedwick is the largest community within Montgomery Village. These homes will be directly and negatively impacted by the proposed alignment of the M83 highway.
We are pointing to the county's commitment, and we would say that also embedded in the charter of the county is the inherent duty to be a trustee and a steward of natural resources, of Seneca Creek, of all of our creeks, and all of our remaining forests.
In this time in our pandemic, we see that the Black and Brown communities have been most impacted by COVID. There's a higher rate of infection, positive cases than any other groups, especially in the Latino community where I live. We make up less than 20% of the population, yet we're over a third of the cases of positive cases. And you start to think about, well, why? And it's those co-determinants of health, those pre-existing conditions that have exposed us or left us more susceptible to COVID. And so you kind of walk that back. Well, what are those co-determinants? It's asthma, it's diabetes, it's obesity. Then you, again, walk it a little bit further back, access to green space, tree canopy, air quality, water quality, mold.
We are standing in the alignment of the M83 highway. Adjacent to this are the homes of Game Preserve Road and Jericho Drive. The road will be much wider than this flat graded grassed area you see. The roadway will extend beyond that fence and up into these people's yards. And this flat alignment that's graded will have to be replicated into this vast forested stream valley with massive earthen cuts and fills and massive destruction of these forest resources to continue the alignment of the proposed M83 highway.
Ownership opportunities for our green spaces. When we think about new roads coming in, I mean, there's a possibility that people might want new roads because, you know, as a community, Latinos spend a lot of time driving to or getting to and from work. So perhaps it could be a good thing for them in their mind. But the fact remains that many of the community have not been involved in the decision-making process. And right or wrong, they need to, you know, whether they fall on the side of for development, for road, or not against, we need to do a better job of engaging the community to get their input. I feel that once there's opportunities to experience what a lot of us have experienced, that the natural conclusion will be to preserve our green spaces as there's an increased understanding of the positive benefits to it. I think that most people will come naturally to that conclusion.
I'm standing in the alignment of the proposed M83 highway just north of Game Preserve Road in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and within the sensitive floodplain of Seneca Creek and adjacent to the Seneca Creek Greenway Trail. The M83 design calls for a 500-foot bridge to span this massive forested floodplain. A highway in this location will severely degrade and damage Seneca Creek and destroy wetlands. Thousands of people use the Great Seneca Creek Stream Valley Park each month, and elected officials should be stewards of these public natural assets and not facilitate their ravage and ruin.
So I actually go to UMD College Park, and I'm actually a dietitian program. That's my major.
Yeah.
And basically I just love hiking. I'm an avid hiker and everything, me and my husband and actually my dog. And I was actually here this morning and I'm here again.
So what do you think about a highway coming through here?
I just think that it would be a really, really bad idea for people.
What would be a bad idea? Say it.
Just putting just a highway, more pollution, and I think people really need like that, that area to hike, to exercise, to breathe fresh air, because I think we breathing way too much pollutant out there, and it's too much. And honestly, it would be a shame. It would be really a shame.
Hey, what's up? I'm Ty.
And I'm Rose, and we live here in Gaithersburg, and we come here a couple times a week actually for just the bike trails. We love it, absolutely.
Yeah, like I grew up around here, so I grew up running these trails. I take my sons to these trails, and it's just easily accessible, biker, hiker friendly. So that's how I grew up, like learning how to mountain bike here.
These kind of trails are super, super important because we'll be right after work. We just come here. It's so easy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect for our lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay, now the issue. Right behind you is that road. It's gonna continue on that direction.
I mean, I understand, the need to alleviate traffic, but there's also a very big need to keep natural spaces. Not only is it for recreation for people like ourselves who absolutely love connecting with nature and just having that, outdoor experience, but especially during the pandemic, it's one of the safer options for people. But it's also habitat for a lot of, animals, and, we don't want to see that go to waste either.
Yeah, no, this area is, there's so little green space already, and it's definitely getting more populated. So I think we need to keep what we have for sure.
So I think it's really important to be able to have natural spaces for recreation. You can bring your kids out here. It is a free thing that you can do with your family, and it's just beautiful, fresh air, wonderful scenery, connecting with nature. It's incredibly important, and we need to preserve them.
Like, why, right? What's the point of building through this? Just to, will it even alleviate traffic?
I'm standing in the M83 right-of-way north of Middlebrook Road in Germantown, Maryland. As you can see, the proposed roadway alignment blows through this forest right behind me, as well as being severely impactful to the Seneca Creek Greenway trail system. This is another section of the M83 highway alignment north of Middlebrook Road. On that small ridge there is the subdivision of Blunt Commons, Yellowleaf Terrace and Yellowleaf Way. And the alignment of the roadway spans this lush oasis of a forested stream valley. The alignment of the proposed highway adjoins Cross Laurel Drive in the Chadswood subdivision, and up that very steep ravine. The design of the roadway if constructed, contemplates a 170-foot-long bridge to span this massive forested floodplain and the wetlands that are associated with the Brander Mill tributary to Seneca Creek. So this proposed alignment of M83 highway would severely damage this forest system, the stream valley, and impact the recreational trail that's within this section of the park and the proposed right-of-way. Again, we're on the alignment of the proposed M83 highway. This is showing the severe topographical gradient that will have to be bridged and spanned if the proposed highway is ever constructed.
One thing that when we talk to people, we talk to them about the idea of the watershed and what does that mean. Living, in downtown city, you're part of a watershed. Living in the country, you're part of the watershed. Living in the suburban area, you're most definitely part of the watershed. I mean, we all are. We all live downstream, from something. Adding more road, more impervious surfaces, generally speaking, is creating more opportunities for contamination, for stormwater runoff, oil and trash and debris, and contaminating our drinking water.
The proposed M83 highway will be an unwelcome neighbor, an intruder to over 100 homes in the Watkins Meadow community in Germantown, Maryland. The M83 highway will slice through the edge of this community and create a forbidding and grotesque gateway to this peaceful neighborhood. The proposed M83 highway, if constructed, will carve a destructive path through an exceptionally large, sensitive, and diverse forest ecosystem in the North Germantown Greenway Stream Valley Park and the Day Spring Silent Retreat Center. M83, if constructed, will cause adverse edge effects, pollution, and harm the integrity and resiliency of these large contiguous forest lands in Montgomery County. We establish public parkland and preserve landscapes to honor and revere our natural heritage and affirm our collective environmental legacy. Montgomery County should not desecrate community assets like the forest lands and habitats in the North Germantown Greenway Stream Valley Park with construction of the M83 highway. Retention of these forest lands is a key part of Montgomery County's Climate Action Plan to sequester carbon and address climate change. Retaining forests addresses the county's 2017 resolution for emergency climate mobilization. Day Spring Silent Retreat is a steward of their forever forests, their fields, meadows, and Day Spring Creek. Let's take a look.
We're now in the Day Spring Creek Valley. Day Spring Creek, a tributary of Great Seneca Creek. This is an amazing area. As you just look around here at all this wetland vegetation on this beautiful little creek valley in the forest here. Just imagine, this is like a little piece of original creation right here in the middle of Montgomery County. A place to sit by the stream and meditate or take a walk along here like we're doing right now. And wetland plants like that skunk cabbage over there, that's called skunk cabbage because in the spring it smells a little bit like skunk, but a wonderful wetland indicator. But beyond that, a number of species growing here, the wild columbine, the false hellebore, that only grow in places like this, one or two places in Montgomery County, which is why the County Parks Department has officially designated this area right here where we are as one of the 10 highest biodiversity areas in the county. And the road, what would be the impacts of the road? The road, as it's proposed, right-of-way is right up on the top of that ridge, right there, across from you, not 50 yards uphill here. And pollution, water running off, coming into the stream valley in high volumes and storms, hot water coming off of pavement in the summertime, all degrading the stream valley here. Air pollution coming down from that, noise pollution of the coming down into this perfectly wonderful little place of creation. Just wouldn't be the same at all without that. And we're in the middle of a forest as well, where this creek cuts through here. And there are actually 600 acres of continuous interior forest. And the highway would bisect that and fragment it. And this is really important for those species of birds that require large interior nesting forest in order for them to nest. And this is one of the largest places in Montgomery County of unbroken forest. And so the stream, any kind of proposed highway would also fragment the forest and degrade this area naturally that way as well.
So here we are standing at Day Spring Silent Retreat Center, and we're looking across at the Silent Retreat Lodge. It has been here since 1956, and it's been a place for spiritual retreat since then. We have visitors from all over the area, all over the country, and even all over the world who come to be on retreat here and experience the quiet, the spiritual silence and solitude in community. The open space and the quiet of this area really contributes to the inner quiet that people experience on retreat. That silence of retreat is a universal value across religions and cultures, and we welcome people from all religions, any religion, and also people who are not religious.
My idea was to have the roads that we got, fix them up, make them safe, make them friendly so we can walk, we can bike, we can enjoy the countryside, if it's called countryside anymore. Let's use common sense. Let's be reasonable. Yes, we need transportation. Yes, we need to get to work. Yes, we need to get to schools. Yes, we need to get to the shopping centers, if we so desire. M83 is not the way. Let's don't do that. Please, let's don't do that.
30 years ago, government planners at all levels, including the Federal Environmental Protection Agency and right here locally in Montgomery County, decided that they would use what they called the watershed planning approach to protecting our natural resources. And this is based on the science that says when you want to protect a stream or a lake or a river, you need to protect all the land that drains into that body of water. And that means we need to protect Day Spring Creek, and that means we need to protect North Germantown Greenway, Stream Valley Park to the north, and we need to protect Day Spring Creek itself and Day Spring Silent Retreat Center. All of these resources are threatened by the proposed M83 highway. This is unacceptable, and the only way to remove this threat permanently is to remove the M83 highway from our master plan of highways and transit ways.
But we just really need to do a better job of engaging the community for input so that these decisions are being made with them and not for them.
Politics, whether you like it or not, plays a major role in our daily lives. To me, that earth-crushing M83 would be devastating, life quality changing, a disaster. There's a third way. Let us look at it in real time, in real ways.
The Montgomery County Council has adopted policies to ensure high quality of life for all residents. That includes clean air, clean water, and intact, healthy ecosystems. We support the County Council's commitments to its residents. And that means we must cancel the M83 highway and to remove it from the Master Plan of Highways and Transitways.